Hello everyone. Today we're thinking about the role of the left elbow in violin playing. The left elbow is one of the more critical components of a good violin technique, yet when we learn pieces we're always preoccupied with the fingering and which position to play in and so on, so the left elbow gets quite often forgotten or at least given less priority. Whereas having a good position of your left elbow is of the utmost importance for all sorts. It helps relieve pain in the left shoulder, it helps to relieve stress in the left upper arm, it helps intonation, it helps finger placement, it helps position playing. A good left elbow helps with vibrato playing as well, so it is one of the most important aspects of a good left hand technique. Before we can think about the position of the left elbow, we have to think very briefly about the position of your violin. So the violin shouldn't be held too far sideways and neither should it be held straight in front. The correct angle is at about a 45 degree between the side and straight in front. Okay, and that gives you the most scope to relax your left shoulder and to have your elbow properly under the violin. Now, like I said, the left elbow has got great value for guiding the fingers across the strings. You can perhaps see that if I swing my elbow out and under the violin, that my fingers are actually going further to the G string, further to the E string, like that. And if you cross the strings in your pieces, you might let your elbow help you. Let it swing there so that it guides the fingers across the strings. Not only does it help the fingers, but having a nice relaxed upper arm and is always better than having it in one place rigidly. So the left elbow comes further under when my fingers go further to the G string, but at the same time I would like to encourage you to push your wrist out a little bit, and that makes for a very nice curved shape here. So what I often see people is play like this, sometimes even touching the edge of the violin here, and that doesn't increase your flexibility. So we want to keep your wrist free, to pushing your wrist out and your elbow underneath the string that you're playing on so that it can wriggle like that. Okay, in this way you can try and play with your fingers really nice and curved on the strings. I'll show you what will happen. I'll show you that best from this end. If I move my elbow out this way, then it encourages my wrist to bend like that, and that in turn gets my fingers much flatter on the strings, you see. Now the cure for that is to bring your elbow under the violin, push your wrist out, and you can see what happens to my fingers. They come much more on their fingertips on the string, and that's where you want them, especially if you want to have a nice round pinky there as well. Can you just see it? And have a look. I'll show you from this way how far under my elbow has come. Another advantage is when you play in a high position. Look, I bring my elbow right in front of my body here, and that helps my hand go around this corner of the violin much more. So if you find yourself playing positions and you can't get up high enough, that might be one of the reasons why you can't go, because you're bashing into the side of the violin here. Whereas if you bring your elbow round, that hand will very smoothly come round the violin like that. Now, elbow, wrist and hand, in other words left thumb, are all three intricately connected. So having a good elbow can only work properly if you have a good thumb as well, and your thumb actually helps getting your elbow and your wrist in shape. Look, a thumb should be upright. It should be somewhere between the first and second fingers, and as I do that, I encourage my wrist to come forward, to push it out like that, and that in turn encourages my elbow to come further forward. Look, I'll show you from this angle where I was before. Look, you can just see my thumb here leaning backwards. So what I've done is get my thumb upright, push my wrist out, bring my elbow under. And this way your fingers play on their fingertips better. Okay, so it improves the placing of your fingers, therefore it will improve your intonation. It helps keeping the little finger rounded, especially when you play on the lower strings, and even more so if you play on the lower strings in a higher position with your pinky. It really helps reaching the string there if you bring your elbow further under the violin. And it also helps with the intonation as you play in the higher positions. One final advantage of having a flexible left elbow is that it helps the vibrato, because vibrato needs to be soft and supple, I always say, but that's much easier to do if your elbow is under the violin. If my elbow is here, out, it restricts the vibrato. I can't move quite as far with my vibrato like that, whereas if I'm here, I can allow my fingertip to roll much more. Can you just see it there? See if I can get my first finger out of the way. Okay, maybe from this angle. So that helps if your elbow is better under the violin. Have a go at practicing your left elbow and just experiment with this position and let me know how you get on. If you want any individual help with your own playing, or you find yourself not being able to do that, do contact me at info@proamstrings.com or book a Skype lesson or a video exchange lesson if you wish. I look forward to seeing you soon.